Greetings to you all. I am Ashford Mondera from Zimbabwe, and I would like to thank FxB for the opportunity to be part of this cohort in 2022. I'm going to present on my climate solution or the project I'm currently undertaking in Zimbabwe, which is called the Afrevive Initiative. The Afrevive Initiative is meant to restore or to facilitate or to provide a demonstration of how farmers can restore soil nutrient and also participate in the process of carbon sequestration whilst they are reaping the benefits of agroforestry. So this initiative came out of the realization that farmers in my grandparents' land where I grew up, they are becoming more and more vulnerable year by year, given that their land is becoming unproductive. At the same time, they are facing challenges that are related to climate change, such as droughts, even in some cases, floods, or other extreme weather events like storms, which is making them more and more vulnerable. And they are doing their agriculture at subsistence level, whereby they are just producing food for the family. And maybe in some rare cases where they can produce something for selling. But in most cases, they try to produce food for self-sustenance. But they are not doing this anymore as compared to the period when I was growing up in that area. Their soils are now more degraded. They can no longer hold the soil nutrients, even the water itself. Even in good rains, they are not harvesting something that is significant to take them to the next season. So these are some of the observations I was making as I paid those visits to my grandparents' place. I grew up in that area, and it was around in the early 2000s. But now in 2022, the situation is more worse, and even their livelihoods, they are all threatened. They can no longer even sustain other livelihood options like goat keeping, even animal keeping, because even the pastures are also degraded. And this is coming at a time whereby they are waiting for their government to do something, maybe in terms of provision of inputs to sustain their agriculture, like fertilizers and even the seeds. Uh, and the government has come up with a conservation agriculture method that is called Pomvudza, whereby they are thought to dig some holes as a matter of increasing their yields and so forth. But all these are coming as short-term measures to address the situation that is they are currently facing. So what I did after observing these things, like even if you see in these pictures, the soils, instead of for becoming brown, they are now white just because they don't have the nutrients that are required for the production of crops. As you can see from this picture that is from my from the left, it is the land is even failing to sustain even the weeds themselves. As you can see, this is around in December this time, and the rains, they were witnessed around even end October, but the grass is failing to grow. What about the crops themselves? It is a difficult situation. Then if you look in this picture in the middle, you can see that even the grazing land is also degraded. The animals can no longer find enough feed in terms of having the grass. And this is another issue which can also cause more vulnerability to these farmers. And in this picture in the right, you can see that they are trying to grow some crops in that land, that is in that land that is from the right. So when they try to do that, you can see even the health or of those crops is something else. And the soils, they are just white, and you expect something to come out of that. It is a difficult situation altogether. So upon realizing that, I thought of something that can be a sort of intervention in form of having a way to restore the nutrients and also to fight climate change. Because if the land is no longer sustaining itself, or it cannot produce enough to facilitate land cover. And if there's no land cover, which means everything is exposed in this case. So even the extreme weather events coming from caused by climate change, they can still affect the farmers. Let's take, for example, the issue of extreme storms. When the land is bare, even the crops, they can be destroyed in this case. And so I decided to come up with this initiative whereby I began by demonstrating how it can be done rather than just prescribing it to the farmers. So I decided to pick a space of land that I was allocated to by my grandparents so that I can demonstrate this so that other farmers can follow if they are convinced that this is the best climate solution and also a solution to enhance their food security situation. Just because there's another competing initiative that is called Fumvudza. Fumvudza is whereby they are directed to dig some holes, and they put some manure in those holes, and they grow their crops. And also they have to mulch the spaces that is not being dug. And in this case, I saw it fit to have another alternative to that so that we can still maintain an evergreen form of agriculture, whereby in the process of growing crops, farmers can still grow trees. And these trees, they will not compete with the crops. What will happen is that we selected those trees which have got other multiple purposes so that in the process of growing crops, farmers can also do agroforestry and also benefit from what is brought by those trees. So we selected some tree species like Lucina leucocephala, Acacia angustima, Glycidia sepium, and Moringa. And we demonstrated this on a 2-hectare plot, and we are growing those trees in hedgerows. And in between the hedgerows, what we are doing is we are now growing our crops in those hedgerows. And those crops are benefiting from the functions of those trees, such as nutrient recycling, provision of nutrient-rich humus, and even moisture retention. Because what is good about these trees is that they are fast-growing trees, they regenerate fast, and they can be pruned, and the prunings can be put in those fields. And in the process, they decay or they decompose at a faster rate, creating humus for the soil. So they improve the soil quality through humus. They also improve the soil quality through nutrient recycling, as they are all nitrogen fixing trees. And in the process, we are making the farmer to be involved in the process of climate action by promoting, number one, carbon sequestration. Just because nitrogen fixing trees, these trees like Lucina leucocephala, they increase the rate of sequestration by more than 50%, just because of their leaf structure and their nitrogen fixing capabilities. They increase that rate, apart from other uses, like whereby the farmers can use that as feed for livestock and so forth. So in the process also, if the land cover is improved and the microclimate of the field is improved, which means we end up having a natural process of even carbon sequestration by the soil itself. So in the process, we have facilitated the participation of the ordinary farmer in the process of climate action through carbon sequestration. And while the farmer is doing so, he's also reaping some benefits of that. Then why this project? The project goal is to enhance land through a concept that promote carbon sequestration and avoid emissions from agriculture, while improving soil health. And we are also trying to promote land reclamation through tree planting and enhancing land cover initiatives. Remember, there's that bond challenge whereby different states or parties to that to the agreement, the Paris Agreement, they must plant more than 10 million trees or 1 million trees by let's say 2030. So for the farmer to be part of that, we need to find a way which is appealing to his immediate needs, like even the need of firewood, the need of for other livelihood options, like even having fodder from that, rather than just saying you have to plant a tree that can face resistance from an ordinary farmer. So we decided to come up with this initiative, which is more appealing to the farmers. And even if they want to do that, combining it with that current program that is from Vudza, they can even benefit from the fast regenerating capabilities of those trees, just because they can have even other things like a mulch. Then in the process, also the farmer can benefit from other livelihood options such as livestock production due to the availability of nutrient-rich fodder from the prunings of these tree species. As you can see from these pictures, that is the concept or how we are implementing the concept, which I'm talking about, the Afrevive. We are implementing it in form of early cropping, whereby, as you can see from the picture in my right, whereby we are having those hedgerows, and in this case it was just in form of vetiver grass. But in some cases, like in the picture to my left, we are using Lucina leucocephala, and in some cases we'll be using a Glicidia sepium or Acacia angostima. And in the picture in the middle, you can see that the farmer is now benefiting from the mulch that is coming from the prunings of those trees. Then the next stage of such mulch is the decomposition of such mulch, and in the process, we are improving the soil quality. And even if you want to compare the two cases, you can see that the soil quality in the picture to my left is white, and even if you want to look at the soil quality to the picture to my right is now brown, like in this case. So which means we have got a project that is facilitating two things, that is fighting climate change by improving land cover and also having improved cases of moisture retention and so forth, so that we minimize cases of droughts and ultimately improving soil quality. Then the lessons we have learned from this, we can we have identified that, or we have observed that farmers, they learn or adopt a concept on conservation agriculture, not as a matter of prescription in most cases, but as a matter of conviction. So far, about 21 farmers are planting nitrogen fixing trees on their farms, yards, and some schools in our area are also implementing the concept as a practical on browning the soil. But what they are still doing, they are not following it properly, is a concept of early cropping, whereby they can produce crops in alleys. They are just adopting the issue of nitrogen fixing trees. Some are planting them randomly on their farms, but this is a good initiative that some farmers are adopting the concept, which we are trying to popularize and to recommend to them. So that is a lesson we have learned, that instead of telling them what is good and what they can do, we have to demonstrate that this can be done in this and this way. Even if they don't do that in the exact way, they can still adopt part of it. Then Secondly, we have also learned that climate innovation is not about having some sophisticated technology, but only finding a way of creating a microclimate of an individual field. You can innovate on the field by following how nature operates, so that we create a microclimate of a particular field. Then from that, we can extend from that. And however, just because we've limited landscape, we are failing to demonstrate and come up with ideal conclusions on what can be what are the benefits of a particular combination of tree species and a particular crop combination. Like in cases of maize, you need to come up with bigger conclusions when you are having a bigger hectarage. But so far, we've identified some results through the combination of buckwheat and the Lucina leucocephala, and also Acacia angostima and potatoes. And we've seen that in the space where you are combining these two, we are having more yields than in a pure monoculture agricultural system. Then so far we have been recognized by different organizations on this concept. First of all, we have been invited to the workshop on the climate smart agriculture innovations that was held in Cliff in Kenya, to participate in that, just because they recognized that our innovation was good for a climate smart agriculture innovation. So we participated as one of the 23 members who were invited to participate in that workshop, all drawn from sub-Saharan Africa, from around 23 countries in sub-Saharan Africa. Then we tried to apply for other government grants so that we can improve on what we are currently doing. And so far, one of our grant proposal has been approved. We are waiting for the disbursement of funds so that we can improve on what we are currently doing in terms of adding the space, the crops, and even some of the tree species, and also to go forward to having something like processing what we are saying we can produce by ourselves, so that we can sell some finished products, and in the process we have a self-sustainable project. Then we are also trying to create publicity of the concept by writing some newspaper articles apart from social media. On social media, yes, I'm doing something, but in the newspapers, this is one of the daily newspapers in Zimbabwe. I published this article and it was accepted, and even the feedback I'm receiving from different farmer groups is also positive. So we are seeing that the concept is receiving a good acceptance in the country, and we are also pushing for the government to adopt it as one of their strategies in their nationally determined contributions, to recommend to their farmers as a way of enhancing a productivity on the farm, and also issues to do with the adaptation with mitigation core benefits. Then yes, we are having some positive acceptance on the project, but we still have a need for help in terms of how we can design, how we can have the best practices in program design. Because what we are currently doing is like we are just doing that based on the knowledge we acquired from different trainings, such as the humanitarian assistance and project management program, which I did, and a little bit of the knowledge from the different workshops. So we still need some help on how best we can design a program on climate smart agriculture in Zimbabwe, which is compliant with with international best practices in program design, especially in the projects that are there to enhance agricultural productivity, and at the same time fighting climate change. And also we still need help on lobbying for the project, although we benefited much from this program on how to lobby, but we still need some extra hands and also knowledge on how best we can lobby for this particular project in a context whereby there are some other competing projects. There are issues to do with how they can try to evade from other issues to do with climate action. Then another thing is the issue of fundraising for a community project. We need to find more ways we can fundraise so that we can even employ other youth in the process, and also we can even develop this initiative or demonstration to a stage whereby we can establish a research station whereby farmers can come and consult on how best they can do that project. Then we need also leadership and other people skills to manage the people and even the whole program, just because this is a program that we are implementing at community level. So we are dealing with the people. So we need capacity building in terms of the leadership and people skills. Although we benefited on this program, we still need more on that. Then the next steps with this project is, yes, we need to learn the global best practices in program design and also lobbying and applying for more grants. And I would like to thank you for listening to this presentation. And I hope that I can collaborate with others, as I have seen that there's another similar project that was done by someone from Somalia, which is related to this concept of early cropping, although we are using different tree species. So with this, I say thank you all for giving me this opportunity to present and also to be part of this wonderful cohort.